But somewhere, somehow, someway, on this day he gets confused, and he manages to convince himself that he is in a completely different location than the one he's actually in, and he winds up making the classic aviation mistake of trusting his eyes and his gut rather than believing what his instruments are telling him. Lieutenant Robert Cox was back on the ground in Fort Lauderdale, and he was the one who received the transmission from Lieutenant Carroll that said, "I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale, I am over land, I'm sure it must be the Keys," and so on. But the crucial part of that transmission is when he opens it by saying, "Both of my compasses are out." In other words, he is over land, but he's not supposed to be over land, and he thinks the islands he sees look like the Florida Keys, and this leads him down a whole daisy chain of false assumptions that wound up being fatal. He rejects out of hand the simplest explanation, which is that he made his left hand turn northward to 346 degrees later than he was supposed to have done, and the islands he sees below him are in fact the eastern Bahamas. But somehow his eyes convince him that he really is over the Keys, which means he must have accidentally turned to the southwest instead of to north by northwest as he had intended, which means both of his compasses must be broken and giving him bad information. So he has formed one false assumption, and now he has reverse engineered a theory that makes the false assumption correct, and all of his subsequent decision making proceeds from that false assumption.